Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I'll be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom Room link, or follow the Zoom Room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. I have 2 public service announcements this week. So first up, if you live or have ever lived in Illinois, check out iCash with the Illinois Treasurer's Office, icash.illinoistreasurer.gov. Someone alerted me that I had money to claim, and okay, it was less than $6, but maybe your windfall could be bigger than mine, and that would be great. I already have my check, though. I deposited my $5.10 just the other day. And then the other public service announcement is a shout out to Champ's Career Closet at St. Xavier University. So I dropped off bags of professional clothing that a client was getting rid of. I dropped those off at Champ's Career Closet at SXU last week. From the coordinator, the Career Closet is a free resource that provides professional clothing to students preparing for interviews, internships, or the start of a new career. Each semester, they host a free thrifting event to further increase access to these items for the students, and they plan to expand programming even more this upcoming school year. Donations are always welcome and can be dropped off at the office at SXU. Reach out via email at careerdevelopment@sxu.edu for specifics. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 137. We were hiking in Alaska last week. Yes, I get to say that. I was hiking in Alaska last week. Sounds cool, doesn't it? It actually really was. My son, one of them, is working this summer at a cruise line excursion destination. So not on the cruise line, but at an excursion destination in Skagway, Alaska. And we went up to visit him. Skagway is nestled between 2 mountains. There are mountains everywhere you look, and so the hiking was great. To get started, I'm going to combine a number of recent articles and episode topics: hiking, travel, summer camp, healing, etc. Years ago, the same son we visited in Alaska signed up for a 10-day adventure to hike the mountains in New Mexico with his Boy Scout troop. Troops are invited to apply, for example, this year for next year, and our troop was granted an opportunity to head to Philmont, New Mexico. Having a full year to prepare for the adventure was a really good idea. It provided many months for the scouts to fundraise to help pay for their trip. It provided many months for the parents of the scouts to pay a little bit monthly towards the trip instead of a lump sum all at once, which could have been difficult for some. The full year of planning, with the adventure as the goal ahead, meant the scouts could ask for the necessary specialized camping gear and clothes and hiking boots as gifts for birthdays and holidays throughout that year. Similarly, my youngest son had the opportunity to travel to Ireland this past March with the Illinois State Marching Band, the Big Red Marching Machine to be specific, to participate in the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Dublin. And we knew about this trip too for more than a year. And again, we were grateful for a lot of lead time to apply for his passport, find him luggage, make small payments, etc. What a long lead time also allowed, at least for the hiking trip, was time to condition. The scouts needed to level up their hiking skills and capacity. So part of the preparation process over the year leading up to the hiking trip were lots of hikes. The scouts started with monthly hikes that weren't too long and didn't involve backpacks, and then progressed to longer and longer hikes with heavier and heavier packs. The goal, before they left for the hiking trip in June, was to have successfully completed 10-mile hikes with 50-pound packs, which is what they could expect daily on the hiking trip in New Mexico. When we were in Alaska, we thankfully started with the hardest hike and the tallest climb, and we didn't know this at the time, but we are very glad that we started with the hardest, because then all the other hikes were also amazing, but also easier. Our muscles weren't as sore, we weren't as winded. That first hike though, a 500-foot elevation gain, and I'll put this in quotes, easy to strenuous reading. It is a little daunting when not once, but multiple times on the trail, there were actual signs posted warning us that the next 250 feet were really treacherous, to stay away from the edge of the trail because that was also the edge of the ridge, etc. Do you hike? When I am on a strenuous hike, I feel like my breathing is so loud. And while I admire the beauty around me, because I really do love the zen of hiking, I also often berate myself for every missed day of exercise and every poor nutrition choice that I've made that hike a little harder than it needs to be. The good news is that the hike itself is the point. And the views at the top are amazing and are an added bonus. There was a huge and satisfying payoff for this hard work with the best views at the top, like mountain lakes. Oh my gosh, it was stunning. Along the way is gorgeous too, don't get me wrong. And more good news was that all the other hikes we tackled in Alaska were easier. There was less elevation gain, there was more sure footing, and still stunning landscapes. Or were they easier because after 4 days of increased activity, we were much better conditioned to hike? I don't know. Probably all of those factors contributed. So let's talk about conditioning and also deconditioning and reconditioning and what all of that has to do with productivity and organizing. First up, we need to condition for the life we want to lead, for the goals that we have in front of us. And if you don't have goals, if I don't have goals, you and I might want to start there. And we use the passage of time, the prep, as the opportunity to make progress, to condition ourselves for those goals. For example, years ago, a client asked me to help him reorganize his closet as he wanted to shift from selling residential real estate to selling commercial real estate. He wanted to, tighten up his wardrobe as he felt his career would benefit from updating how he presented himself at client meetings. And he knew that getting his clothes and his closet organized would help him towards that. He wanted to get ready. He wanted to condition for the life that he wanted to lead. As I was reminded this morning in a conversation, I am conditioned as a professional singer and a flautist. I have built skills and muscles over time through practice and repetition to support singing and playing my flute well. It would be tougher for other people to do what I do because they haven't been conditioned for it. And the opposite is true. I can't easily do what everyone else does because I'm not conditioned for that. And that's okay. So we can choose to condition for certain things, and we can recognize that we are ready for certain things. In all things, including this, maintenance is key. I stay conditioned to sing and perform so that I can quickly say yes to opportunities when they come up. There's no prep needed. And also because it's easier to stay conditioned than it is to catch up. So let's talk about deconditioning. I first heard the term deconditioning in the context of a loved one who'd been in the hospital and needed to build up their strength again before they could be discharged to go back to living independently again, right? I'll put this in personal terms though, so I don't have to ask permission of anyone. I mentioned a few months ago that I had another minor surgery to remove another basal cell carcinoma from my shoulder. And deconditioning happens when we have something to recover from, when we've had time of inactivity, like my mandatory light duty, the 3 weeks of not lifting heavy things because I had a 3-inch incision in my shoulder. So I needed to heal, but I also couldn't maintain or build strength in the affected area during that time. Turns out I overused my right hand and arm since I couldn't use my left, and my left arm deconditioned due to lack of use. If I were to continue to do that, I bet I would end up very lopsided, but I didn't. So I needed to recondition to build back up my strength on my left side. We need to build things back up that might have gotten a little lax. In this case, it was actual strength. So I need to build back up my strength on that side that has lost some strength over these last 3 weeks. It deconditioned, and now I need to recondition. I need to divert resources back to this area to catch up so that I am reconditioned and ready for life. And we all have situations like that. Maybe not physically, but maybe it's work. Sometimes we divert resources, time, energy, money, or stamina towards other things. Our typical way of doing things, our muscles, real or proverbial, like our time management strategies, or focus or productivity, decondition, and then we need to recondition. We may condition, but then a situation comes along where we decondition. Maybe it's a vacation, a recovery, or a work project that takes our attention from our usual work and uses other resources and skills or muscles. But it's okay. We know we can come back from that. And we can set our goals so we know what we're coming back for. So my new fitness goal is ready to hike Lower Dewey Lake. Now, you may not know what that means, but for me, I know exactly what that means. It is the image, for me, it's the tough hike that we tackled, and it gives me a goal for conditioning whether I ever go back to Lower Dewey Lake or not. I may never be in Alaska again, and that's okay. The goal is to be ready for such a hike. To condition for that future hike, I need to increase cardio so my breathing capacity is better. I need to increase activity overall so my recovery at the optional rest points is quicker. Like the scout trip preparation, we can plan to regularly tackle 3 to 5 mile hikes once a month so that when those opportunities come for longer hikes again, we'll be ready. What does that look like for you and for me, right? What are your goals and what do you need to do in small steps every day to help you prepare for and also meet those goals? So take the leap with me this week because obviously this article and episode aren't just about hiking. What are you conditioning for? What do you want to be ready for should the opportunity present itself? Personally, professionally, maybe when you travel, who knows, right? Wanting to interview for that big job? Research the company now. Do you want to have family come and visit? Get that guest room ready now. Thinking about selling your house and relocating? Read up on your destination now and craft your downsizing plan now. I don't know, want to make millions of dollars and retire early? Yep, that requires planning too. Once I and you have those goals in mind, what we need to do to condition for that goal becomes clearer. And you and I can know what we're aiming for if we need to catch up again, too, after things slide a bit. There's no quiz or competition here. It's just a tool to help us guide our actions. Support around goal setting, taking action, and staying motivated is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.